Thank you so much, Brenda, for joining us today. As our founder of the AAC, we thought it was only appropriate that we begin our monthly interviews with you. Our first question for you is to ask why you started the AAC and how it's been important to you in your career and as a Fordham alum.
So the story of the AAC is interesting. I joined the board of the Fordham Law Alumni Association board about now almost 14 years ago. And when I joined the board, there were no people that looked like me. And I felt disheartened by that because I love my school and expected to see something different. Spoke to a very close friend and advisor who said, go find your tribe. So it was with that I had the idea to create the Alumni Attorneys of Color, and that is what led me to, with the support of the Alumni Affairs Office and some key individuals on the board, to create the AAC.
What's one word that comes to mind when you think of Fordham Law and the AAC?
The one word that comes to mind when I think of Fordham Law and AAC is engagement in community. The attorneys of color are really critical to representing a broad set of perspectives, which is really key to the identity of Fordham as a family. And that's what makes me think, but that's what comes to mind when I think of Fordham and the AAC community.
So now that it's been 10 years since the founding of the AAC, can you tell us about the process of getting it started and who got involved? And we want to hear all the details.
Oh, I'm only happy to go into all the details. So as I mentioned when we had our annual RISE event, which is Reuniting in Strength, I talked about the AAC OGs. Well, there were people like Andy Hinton and Mike Blackshear, Ana Lu Vasquez Uvati, Deneen Donnelly, and I spoke with them and said, we need you guys to be the founding members of this organization. And it was Ana Lu who suggested we actually create a mission statement, which is what we put up on LinkedIn. And from there, it really was the multiplier effect. With support from Dean Diller, the dean who just left, who Dean Landau replaced. We were able to then grow it from there. But if I didn't have that core group of AAC OGs, we likely would not be now having been in existence for 10 years.
Brenda, can you tell us about your career and what advice you would give to other attorneys of color?
Recently at the firm, we hosted a cafecito, which is an organization of Latina attorneys that was formed by my colleague, Carla Sanchez, my classmate, Carla, who's class of 1995, with the same sort of idea, bringing together a certain demographic. And I talked about my career, and what's really important about the AAC was having a safe space for me to bring the challenges that I faced, whether it was being in a law firm, whether it's the challenges that I have in-house, and being the only person in a room, and how I could have the sort of respect and really gain an understanding from people who didn't look like me and have them see through to the value that I provide. The AAC was really critical during the pandemic, because we were able to meet online and talk about how our lives had shifted and how we were dealing with now being in a 100% virtual world. So the AAC has been able to adapt to its current wonderful executive committee and continue on in the mission, flexibly adapting to all of the needs of attorneys of color, which, if you look at my career and all the twists and turns, is really important that we have a community that we can turn to ask those questions that sometimes we're afraid to ask.
Can you tell us where you hope to see the AAC and Fordham Law in the next 10 years?
Well, that's easy. I'm a Sagittarius, so I aim high. And even when I first founded the group 10 years ago, I knew that it was important that it have a legacy and that it endure for the many decades to come. as we've seen the challenges in this current environment, which I alluded to or talked about the challenges of the pandemic, the AAC should continue to be that safe space for attorneys of color, where we reach out to our allies, where we can rely on one another, and when we can look back 50 years from now and say that we have had grown the organization and this organization has been there to support one another. It's also really important, and I have to credit Kasim Lockhart for this phrase, but we also pull as we climb. And the reason the AAC needs to stay around for the decades to come are for all the generations of attorneys of color to come. So I'm hoping that we endure for my lifetime and several other lifetimes.